Hello, welcome. As you can see, we're playing Final Fantasy 14, and yeah, let's get into it. Excuse me. This is taking forever. Maybe it really was too good to be true. Oh wait, hold on. Let me turn off my. Thank you, miss. I've been waiting for what felt like an age, but finally it's here. My miracle draught. Oh, do you not know what this is? This, my friend, is a vial of the mysterious brew called Fantasia. Legend has it. Legend states that any who drink it before lying down for the evening awaken a new man or woman. My Coliseum debut is coming up, and I'm terribly nervous. So thought this medication might bestow me with the self-confidence I lack, and a chiseled, muscled body besides. I can't wait to show off in my subligar. Take this to the medicine merchant with my compliments. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to make my dreams come true. Good, you're back, and with my payment, I expect. Every last skill accounted for. I knew you'd be right for the job. Now for your payment. But what's this? A friend of yours? I can't say I recognized him. My client? You mean that little elephant gladiator? But yeah, isn't that what your medicine does? Who's to say? I have no way of proving that man was indeed my client. But if it would state your curiosity, I believe I can spare you a file of your own experimentation. Now, my business here is done. We will meet again someday, though whether we recognize one another is less certain. Didn't really need to do that quest. I have two of them already, but it's a blue quest, you know. Yo, I was wondering whether you'd be long. Not a moment too soon either. I've got an urgent job that needs doing, and there's no one else I'd entrust with it. Of course, you'll be wanting to know the details. It's a long story, so why don't you grab a seat over there? I'll join you shortly. I have a few things to finish up here before I join you. Make yourself comfortable, yo. It's going to be quite the yarn. Now that we're all settled, allow me to introduce myself properly. I'm Brooke Evu, proprietor of ffxiv. As you know, my establishment is open to anyone. People hailing from across Tyrol and sometimes further come here to whet their appetite and slake their thirst. Given how we turn no one away, it's inevitable that a few bad apples might mix into my milk-free patrons. And therein lies the rub. A particularly rotten bunch was here not long ago. Sitting just over there, in fact, and having a conversation most foul. I thank you all for coming here, so far from your respective homes. As this is the first time we have all gathered in one place, perhaps formal introductions are in order. I am. Welcome, welcome. What'll you be having? Could we have a moment, please? We are in the middle of something very important. Now then, where was I? Oh yes, I am Apia. If you are sitting here now, it is because I have personally invited you to the passage of the unbound. My secret is secretive villainous order with ambitions to sow discord throughout the world. Hmm. Villains do not often call themselves such, nor do secret orders have their meetings in places where all eyes can see. What do you know? Your snide remarks only ruin my carefully constructed atmosphere. If I had time to think of a suitable slogan, you would understand that words are everything. But I digress. I invited you all here for one reason: to throw the world into a mirror of chaos, and then watch its nations crumble. What else would we call ourselves if not villainous? My only interest is to punish all who've dared to mock and belittle me. So long as I can achieve that, you can call me whatever you like. The rich, the powerful, the mighty, all shall be crushed under the weight of my ire. A grand design for a group of six. Even if we manage to muster others to our side, there's a limit to what we can accomplish. I regret to say you are right. At present we are bound and powerless. That is why, in order to raise our fists against our oppressors, we must find the strength to shatter our shackles. And in so doing, we shall become unbound, like birds soaring up and above. We shall take flight and spread our wicked wings, staining the azure skies black. But sometimes skies become treacherous with clouds, and even birds must rest. You speak of finding strength. Is that why we are all here? To look for it? If so, then I pledge my aid. With my with newfound might at my beck and call, I shall win adoration known only by a hero. Your eagerness is heartening, and you are correct. The tools to make our goal in a reality lay in Tyrol. Across this continent can be found certain artifacts which possess untold power. Did you say artifacts? Oh, as since an adventure hunt for instruments of devilry ahead. My imagination is overflowing with images of new forms of trickery my of the new forms my trickery might take. I dare say the world is not ready. Yes, well, to get to the heart of the matter, the objects are held by the disparate tribes which make their homes in the Tyrol continent, where they have been passed down through generations as sacred treasures. Whatever stories these people have attached to their so-called treasures matters not. Each contain the essence of fearsome beast called Tyrol Vidral, and with them in our possession, none shall be able to stand against us. We shall take the objects for ourselves, bring them across the sea, and use them to undermine nations far and wide. The means by which you each choose to do, I leave it in your hands, only ask that you do not disappoint. I take it there are no questions? Then let the passage of the unbound open unto the world. We'll begin at once. They didn't order a single thing. That's the long and short of it. What do you think? They left without ordering anything? Villainous indeed. It's right there in their name. They're unbound by manners of and respect, and won't be welcome back here anytime soon. You, on the other hand, can stay as long as you like. Of course, we had a duty to report what we heard to the Lance Guard. We did, but it didn't make a damn difference because soon we learned those unwelcome guests had teeth. Not long ago, one individual from a remote tribe came here seeking help recovering a stolen relic. Then another came with the same story, then another, and so on. By the time we realized the passage of the Unbound was a real threat, they had one and all made their way across the sea with their ill-gotten gains. Each tribe has sent out one of their own to recover what was lost, but being in strange lands, they're at a disadvantage. That's why I've been looking for someone who knows every corner of Eorzea and beyond. Now, I know you've business in Tyrol, or else you wouldn't be here in the first place. But if you could take the time to hear Raul Majin out, you'd be doing a service to many who could really use a helping hand. That smile. Greetings. Allow me to thank you personally for lending your assistance in this matter. We've been quite desperate for someone suitable. Greetings, Raul Majan. At the risk of becoming a daily nuisance, I must ask, have there been any developments you might share? A nuisance? Why perish the thought? You've come just in time, in fact. None other but the vaunted Yo has agreed to aid into the search. Finally, a fortunate turn. So long as our sacred treasures are in wicked hands, our homes shall know no peace. To say nothing of the danger they pose to other nations. If these thieves really do intend to stir up chaos and cross the seas, then you had better depart on the next ship. But before you do, it might be proper to introduce you to those who have come to Toliol in search of aid. Lozaneque there comes from a village far to the north. A single warrior cannot hope to withstand the power of her tribe's relic, so she requires a stout protector, someone that can be leaned upon when the times are darkest. The heirloom that Neopine must recover afflicts terrible maladies upon its victims. He seeks someone who commands great healing magics to counteract this effect. The search for Shashafia's tribal treasure has been entrusted to a peerless hunter. She requires someone to act as a frontline fighter who can distract her target while her bow takes deadly aim. And lastly, there is Tisue, who knows little about her people's ancient artifacts, aside that it must not fall into the wrong hands. She seeks a mage of great power, but anything beyond that lies shrouded in mystery. Aren't you forgetting someone, Raoja? Your crisis is just as pressing, even if you won't say so yourself. Raoja hails from the further south than even the Mamluk, and has traveled many days and nights in search of someone who can strike down their prey from afar. It's the only way to escape the effect of this village treasure. Did I get that right? Indeed, indeed. I do get so forgetful in my old age. Thank you, Ryle Majan. 5 tribes, 5 stolen treasures, all waiting for the aid of a brave soul. Hopefully that can be you, yo. Of course, I'll share all that I know on the matter. You only need to ask. And know that I will not hold it against you should you choose to assist only those for whom your talents are best suited. So long as you do what you can, the people of Terrell, and maybe even further, will be in your debt. Welcome, welcome. How goes your search for the treasures? If there's anything you'd like to ask me about, I'd be happy to tell you what I can. I know you're a busy woman. Rest assured, this passage of the unbound business is dealt with. Once this passage of the unbound business is dealt with, there'll be a full plate of my finest tacos with your name on them. Well, if that isn't motivation, I don't know what is. I was hoping she'd be the one. Okay, cool. Hello there. I take it you've spoken with Brooke Evu, willing to lend a hand. I am truly grateful. Then allow me to introduce myself. I am Shapenya, Shash Shashepia, and I have traveled far from my village in the forest of Zaktoral in search of a brave soul to help us retrieve our stolen treasure. For generations have my people watched over the dream-weave cocoon, the vessel in which the power of the swallowed Terrell Vidral is sealed. Before its ascension, the swallowtail warded off would-be predators by assuming the form of more threatening butterflies, poisonous ones on the like and the like, though its skill at mimicry, through its skill at mimicry. So it survived day after day, summer after summer, until the dawn of its great new existence. It became capable of taking on the form of any creature which crossed its path. This fearsome power was sealed within the cocoon, and any who possess it command the selfsame abilities. Indeed, the wielder too may assume the form of any manner of beast or man they beheld. Yet this mimicry is not limited to merely physical forms. No, the wielder may replicate the talents and abilities of their target, so long as such actions fall within their ken, that is. In an instant, they may become a master of the hunt, a twin blade wielding viper, or a savage brax with claws and fangs to gut whomsoever they please. It is the power which has protected my village from the predators of the forest. For though it grants many boons, the forest contains threats in equal measure. By donning the skins of its most formidable beasts, we've kept ourselves safe for generations. Without the cocoon, my village's very survival is at risk. That is why we have sent our foremost hunter, Itoka, to ensure it is reclaimed. She has never failed to capture her quarry, so I thought she would make short work of this ordeal, yet there has been no word from her. I fear this may be a hunt she cannot undertake alone. It is for that reason I wish to enlist the aid of one familiar with the lay of the land beyond the Great Sea, and one whose prowess in close quarters would complement her expertise with the bow. One of the villagers ran into the thief before he fled and said he intended to use the cocoon's power in Kugane, which I understand is the name of a large settlement located far, far to the east. Please, for the sake of my home, set out for this eastern habitation and assist Toka with retrieving the cocoon. Leave it to me. Your willingness to aid is most reassuring. You have my heartfelt thanks. Upon arriving in the eastern land, search for a Vieira woman carrying a bow and dressed in a similar attire to myself. If you visit a tavern like this one, I dare say you might find someone who has seen her. Once you have arrived in the eastern habitation, travel to a tavern such as this and ask if anyone has seen a woman matching Toka's description. When you found her, I ask that you lend her your strength. It's been a while since I've been to Kagane. And it gives a reason for people to come back to old places while playing the new game expansion. That's so cool, actually. I like that. Cool outfit. Welcome to the Shiz Koze Holstery. How may I serve you? You're searching for someone. As a matter of fact, I do distinctly remember seeing a Vieira woman of that description earlier, but I'm afraid I could not tell you where she may be now. My deepest apologies that I cannot assist you further. I wish you the best of luck in finding her. upstairs. Gane looks really good now. It really benefits from the new lighting system. Is that smoke? It is. That's cool. Okay. Every air woman bearing a bow. Why, yes, I do recall such a person. It was hard not to notice her, really, given how she was peering at every little thing. If she came from a distant land to the west, no doubt Kogane is quite the unusual sight for her. With any luck, she'll be where I saw her, in the vicinity of the Shinsengumi barracks. No doubt she'll be grateful to have someone familiar with our city and customs at her side. I only hope you can find her. Alas, from Tyrrell, was it? Sorry, can't help you. That reminds me, though, I heard Tyrrell has its own local variety of spirits called mezcal. Been meaning to taste it myself for an age now, but you've no idea how hard it is to get one's hand on a bottle of it here. Tell me, have you had a taste of mezcal for yourself? Can you describe its flavor, smell, texture? Call me be versatile. I must have a cup. This city is simply too large for me to cover alone. Perhaps it's time I returned home. Itoka? Yes, I am she. And you are? I see. Shashapra always was a worry wart. Won't deny I appreciate the help, though. Ascertaining the whereabouts of the cocoon has been no easy task. I managed to secure room and board in this lodging after arriving in Kukane, and have been using it as a base to track down the thief ever since. I'll tell you all I know. According to an eyewitness from my village, the thief is a middle-aged, high-rent male. That's all we have to go on regarding his appearance. Yet, so long as he possesses the cocoon, he can be anyone and anything. An elderly woman traipsing along the street, a child throwing a ball, mayhap even a dog chasing after it. Truth be told, I was nigh at wit's end trying to find him. That is, until I discovered that a series of unusual squabbles had been occurring around the city. After investigating these incidents, I found one commonality. The instigator in each case invariably had no recollection of the incident, let alone of inciting it. What's more, eerie accounts have begun to circulate amongst the residents. Some folk claim they've somehow been seen in two places at once. Based on all this, I believe the thief's been using the dreamweave cocoon to transform into innocence and spread discord throughout the city. Stands to reason we can find him by following the trail of chaos left in his wake, no? And yet, even should we apprehend him in whatever form he's hidden himself within, there's nothing to stop him from feigning ignorance. Besides a secret remedy, of course, the recipe for an elixir which can forcibly remove the cocoon's enchantment has been passed down in my village for emergencies like this. I made sure to prepare a few vials before making the voyage here. I need simply throw the solution at the suspect and the cocoon's weave of mimicry will unfurl on the spot. That covers everything. Now what say now what say we see if there's any trouble afoot. The thief will undoubtedly be not be far from it. Let me know when you're ready. We'll catch him together. Ready to set off then? Perfect. I say we begin our search with the markets. I recall a great number of people gathering in the Rakuza district, I believe it was called. Rare are the days my people leave the shelter and bounty found beneath the forest burrows. I was speechless when I first laid eyes on Toliol, a city which as many people as trees, with as many people as trees and forests, and Kagane is no less dense. To think that all this was wrought by mortal hands. Remarkable. My people have ever lived in harmony with nature, but that doesn't mean we condemn the ways of those who choose otherwise. In fact, in the brief time I've been exposed to settlements like this, I've come to see such places have their merits too. Look, you thieving horsehorn, I told you this isn't enough. But, sir, this cannot be right. I am sure I gave your change in full. Enough. Hand over my money or I'll take it by force. Let's keep watching. But isn't it obvious no one gets so worked up over a handful of coins unless they're looking for trouble? Reveal yourself, villain. What in the blazes do you think you're doing? Oh, sorry. Very, very sorry. Oh dear. A thousand apologies, sir. I gravely miscalculated your change. I will return what you are owed immediately. I beg your forgiveness. I apologize for the disturbance. How dreadfully embarrassing. Well, a hunter doesn't quite quit after a single arrow misses its mark. Best not to dwell on what's done and instead focus on our next course of action. Let's see how things fare on Kogane Dori. Rain now. I already talked about, yeah. Talk about the sea. I can't believe how incredibly vast it is. My jaw dropped when I first saw it. I could barely fathom where the horizon ended and the sea began. Before arriving in Torreolal, I'd imagined the sea to be merely a larger, saltier body of water than the lake back home. There we would race from shore to shore. To attempt the same here, I fear, would have fatal results. I'll cut you down where you stand, you treacherous lummox. What is going on here? The big bloke yonder allegedly laid hands on that grizzled fellow's woman. Fred, this may come to blows. Calm yourself, man. I have not done what she claims. You dare add insult to injury by calling her a liar? Ignore him. I told you that pig defiled me. Cut him down this instant. There is no truth to her words. Wherefore does she spout such rubbish? Kami, give me strength. Cut the bloody brute down already. Yes, not less than your head shall serve as penance for your crimes. Very well, let my braid prove my innocence. It's her, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's her. Was that really necessary? No matter. I was growing weary of this pretty face. It's time I moved on to bigger and better things. That's powerful. Oh, no, you don't. Whoa. Oh my god. Oh, okay. Okay, I see what the tone for the role quest is gonna be. How odd. My bow is more out of tune than I realized. Sweetheart, is it really you? Oh, thank the Kami you're safe. I found her lying unconscious in a nearby alleyway. She could only vaguely recall being attacked from behind before losing consciousness. So the villain knocked her out before assuming her visage in a ploy to deceive her husband. I felt I fell for the deception like a complete and utter fool. I do not even know how to begin to make amends. There are no amends to be made. You simply acted as any husband would. Due to your involvement, this matter was resolved without bloodshed. The Shinsengumi thank you. 'Tis regrettable, however, that the villain managed to escape. A criminal who can change their shape at will is exceedingly dangerous. Know that the Shinsengumi will alert the populace of this menace and remain vigilant for any suspicious activity in the city. Let's return to my lodgings. I'd like to go over where we stand with our elusive quarry. As predicted, the thief has been using the cocoon's power of mimicry to incite conflict around the city. What he hopes to accomplish by doing so, however, is still unclear. And as long as he has this power, our sole means of tracking him remains the havoc left in his wake. I try and tra- trail for hunter, but I'm heartened to have a warrior like you besides me as I tread it, tread it. We'll catch him together, and when we do, we'll mete out the justice he deserves, yo. Okay. I'm just gonna take a short break. I'll be right back. And I'm back. It's like I'm not the only one doing the quest. Good to see you again. See you, yo. For better or worse, I haven't heard anything unusual. Uh, I haven't heard about any unusual incidents in Kugane since our last altercation with the thief. There may be a reason for that. Do you remember when he claimed he was moving on to bigger and better things? If we're to catch him, we may have to expand the scope of our search beyond Kugane. Yet he traveled all the way from Tyrol to this new eastern land for a reason, and I can't imagine he'd go too far. Do you know of any other settlements nearby? It's like the same thing, but the Ruby Sea is dotted with settlements. People live out in those waters, but they're so vast. Where would we even begin? So the Bakfu has an outpost at the Ruby Price. That sounds like the perfect place to start. Let's make our way there and avail ourselves of the soldiers' intel. If anything out of the ordinary has occurred, no doubt they'll be aware of it. Shall we? This place looks so good now. Look at that aetherite at the ocean. All the textures aren't really updated. The lighting's good. See how it looks above. Oh my god, look at that skybox. Everything looks so good with the lighting. And the draw distance too. That's probably just the PS5 helping me, but oh, this guy. Well, this is unexpected. What brings you to the ruby price? Disputes. Strange you should ask. Not even a moon ago, the waters of the Ruby Sea were poisoned to a sanguinary shade. Please tell us everything. A Confederate skiff approached the Ruby Price with authorization, and its occupant began hurling insult after insult in an obvious attempt to provoke us. We did not succumb to their provocations, however, after warning the vessel we'd fire if they drew an elm closer, they withdrew without a word. However, should they attempt to provoke us again, we shall not display the same level of restraint, and the roar of our cannon shall signal their comrades to rally in full force. The waters will flow red, of that there can be no doubt. Tensions run high, not like this has ever occurred. I see. Thank you for the information. Might we speak privately? Based on the testimony just now, I gather there's an agreement in these waters that the Confederates are not to draw near the Ruby's prices, guarded as it is by Bakufu sentries. If that's the case, then as the soldier stated, I can only conclude that the vessel earlier was attempting to incite a dispute between the two factions, which fits the modus operandi of our quarry, wouldn't you say? Perhaps it was he who sailed here under the banner of the Confederates. Whatever the case may be, we have nothing but conjecture. We'll need solid evidence before we can alert the soldiers here to this threat. I doubt they'll heed our warnings otherwise. First, we need to verify if any members of the Confederacy actually approached the Ruby Price. Do you know where their base of operations can be found? Sakazuki. Looks like it would be fastest for us to swim there. Oh, teleportation. Nice. What? Absolutely not. Not one of my Confederate brothers and sisters would approach the Ruby Prize without authorization. Those cowardly Baku dogs must have conceived this baseless rumor to get a rise out of us. The soldiers at the Ruby Price said that, did they? Pardon my language, but that's a load of shite. We have no interest in Higgin waters. If anything, I've seen their skiffs approaching our territory of late. If you ask me, they're the ones thirsty for blood. There you are, Yo. Listen to what this person has to say. The situation is more grave than we thought. I'm thankful you came, and not a moment too soon. Captain Rusho ain't been acting himself, you see. Normally where he goes, Tensui goes, but not today. He showed up just earlier by his lonesome and ordered us to gather as many as able to join him on the Isle of Beko to attend some pressing business. Normally I'd oblige the captain without a moment's hesitation, but I had a feeling something went right. So I asked him what manner of business we're gonna set the ruby price ablaze, he says. The bloody ruby price. Tried speaking some sense into him, but he won't mind to listen. Walked off saying he has no need of craving bastards like me. Look, I don't know what's going into the captain, but it can't be anything good. Please go to the Isle of Beko and stop him and me comrades before it's too late. This Rasho acting strangely can't be coincidence. We need to get to that island and quickly. Do you know the way? Got it. We've got not a moment to waste. I hear voices. Seems they've gathered up ahead. Those scum think they can encroach on our territory and get away with it. I'll be damned if we let them. Tonight we laid it. siege to the ruby price and seize it for ourselves. Okay, so he's definitely the guy. But are you sure if we do this, we won't be just starting a battle, we'll be starting a war? You've been acting strange, Captain. What's gotten into you? Silence. I didn't ask for your bloody opinion. Those lying dogs claimed it was us breaching the agreement. I say we give the bastards what they deserve. You are not welcome here. Be gone if you value your lives. You're not Rasho. You saw right through my disguise once again. Don't tell me you can't even, you count even a pirate captain among your acquaintances. What are you trying to accomplish? Why incite such conflict wherever you go? Why? Sorry to disappoint you, but contrary to the passage of the Unbounds prating about freeing the world from tyranny and government, I have no grand designs. I wish merely for everyone to show their true faces. Folk love to put on airs of sophistication and virtue, but push them towards the edge and their masks slip off to reveal the monsters underneath. They'll go for their neighbor's jugular to save their own skin. You've seen it for yourselves. It's quite the spectacle. I still need to go up that tower. Damn it, the winds are too strong. Oh wait, did I do that already? A man of 1,000 faces is a true menace indeed. We'll return to Anokoro forthwith to alert the captain. Rest assured the Confederacy will be keeping a close watch over the Ruby Sea. I didn't think for a moment he was an impostor. And the lies he spouted about the Bakfu soldiers were enough to make my blood boil. To think what would have happened had you not been here to stop us. Kami bless you. All he wants is to expose people's so-called true faces. That he would use the cocoon for such a petty cause, unthinkable. Let us return to Kagane for the time being. Damn it all. I can't believe a bastard like that. Ah, forgive me. I find myself more disgusted with that villain each time we see him. And to think all of this is driven by small-minded spite. From what I could gauge, he didn't fly towards Kagane during his escape. I believe he seeks a new settlement to terrorize. Now that the Confederacy and I are acquainted, I'll see that if they can't help me sniff out his roost. No doubt where there's smoke, he'll be there stroking the fire. And I suppose I'll use this period to tend to my bow. Next time my arrow will fly true. One more level. Fun little side quest though. Alright. Guess I'll be visiting Stormblood throughout this playthrough. Actually, yeah, I can do this quest chain. It's gonna link up with another quest chain later on, so might as well. Every moment we leave that peddler to his own devices is another opportunity for some unsuspecting traveler to be hoodwinked. We need to figure out where he's been and where he may go next. I'll ask around and watch a polo if anyone else has had similar run-ins with disputable merchants. In the meantime, I'd like you to find the scoundrel and keep him in your sights by whatever means necessary. We can't have him leaving before we've had the chance to settle this matter after all. I expect he's still in Europacha visiting the markets to use his ill-gotten pelf to stock up for his return to Raorzia. Like as not, he's inspecting the stalls at Ikololo's and ask after a Lalafell by the name of Ikamolu. But don't, but be discreet. Once you've found him, try to keep him occupied for as long as you can. Ah, well, this is a pleasant surprise to think we could meet again here of all places. You do recognize me, don't you? The merchant you spoke with on the ship, the Toriol? Oh, oh, hey, it's him. Yeah. I neglected to impart my name to you at the time, but I shall happily rectify that now. Gigamolo, at your service. Since my arrival on the continent, I must say my business has been booming. I'll spare you the details of my most recent transaction, but suffice it to say, I earned quite a handsome sum from the most generous young merchant. Uh, Truly makes the voyage here feel well worth the trouble. All that remains before I return to Eorzea is to purchase some commodities. Alas, ever since I've felt the soothing waters of Pankpelu retreat on my skin, I can think of little else. The mere mention of it has stirred my yearning to avail myself to those hot springs once more. Ahem. It was a pleasure to meet you again, my friend, but I must be going. Farewell. Oh, look at that thing. Level 100 would probably kill me. Cool little place. Oh, it's you again. Did you follow me here? Or perhaps you too have succumbed to the allure of the hot springs. Water is the perfect temperature and the view is ravishing. All my worries seem to just melt away. Though I suppose I've also Kavi to thank for that. He's been the perfect attendant, taking care of my every need. I'm surprised you're still listening to me ramble on. If I didn't know better, I might think you can't not to enjoy these springs, but to speak with me. It's thanks to Gavi that I can relax without a worry in these waters. Gods, I could get used to this. Gigamolo truly did such an awful thing. I had no idea. He only recently began to visit these. Just look at him. These springs and hired me to take care of odds and ends for him during his sojourns. I took him to be quite the affluent individual, the way he carries himself. My heart goes out to poor Nobly, but as a Pelopelu, I am quite intrigued by Gilgamesh trading practices.
Allow me to explain. Many years ago, we Pelu Pelu were looked down upon by the other peoples of Tyrol, both figuratively and literally, due to our diminutive stature.
Charnand, it is said that our ancestors decided to start wearing masks made in the image of the most powerful Tyrol Viderol, Vilagurmandada, in order to strike fear into the hearts of all who looked upon them. Today, however, the meaning of the mask has changed. After becoming peddlers at the Dawn servant's suggestion, the masks have come to symbolize fair transactions. Indeed, they are now proof of our reputability. Instead of focusing solely on our profit, we endeavor to make every trade mutually satisfactory. Countless years of doing so has earned us the respect of those around us, and we now very rarely experience any belittlement. Yet it seems Gigaluma wishes only to fill his own coffers, even at the expense of those with whom he does business. It's a shame, after what he's done, no Tyrrell will wish to barter with him again, no matter what quality of import he has at hand. I will keep a close watch on him from now on. I don't want to see anyone else swindled out of their hand-earned pal. Though, given his present euphoria, I doubt he'll be doing anything of the sort anytime soon. That said, I'm sure Nopley must be anxious to hear from you. I have matters here well in hand. Why don't you return to him? Don't worry, I won't let him out of my sight. What? You met Gigamaloo during your voyage to Tyrol? What a small world.
In any case, thank you for lending your assistance once again, Yell. It's reassuring to know Kavi will be keeping a careful watch on him. As for my investigation here, it seems I'm presently Gigolomo's only victim, but I fear I won't be the last. There's no telling what underhanded tricks he'll use to procure those wares you spoke of, and I refuse to let him besmirch all that it means to be a merchant. I have a plan, but I'm going to need your help. I'd like your opinion on something, Should we spread of Gigomo's unhanded practices? It won't be long before there's not a soul in all of Tyrol willing to deal with him. How do you feel about that? I'm not sure. It's a bit of a conundrum, isn't it? But from my perspective, such a conclusion would be troubling. After all, we'd lose one of the few merchants willing to voyage across the seas to do business with us. If he is to remain a potential trading partner in the years to come, he needs to be made to see the error of his ways. I suspect a few words of warning will do little, however. He needs to be taught a proper lesson to feel the sting of being swindled for himself, and we shall make sure that he does the Pelu Pelu way. First, we'll need an alluring piece of merchandise to serve as bait, hailing from across the salt yourself. I can think of none better suited to finding something that might garner his interest. Have a look about and see what local specialties we have to offer. I should like to know if anything catches your eye.
I'm sure there's something here that's certain to entice Gigalomo. It's simply a matter of finding it. Something rare. I can think of nothing better than coffee plants. They'd surely fetch a handsome price, seeing as you most likely can't find them where you're from. Oh, so you can find them there. Well, in that case, I'd like to try your coffee for myself. Oh, what I would get for a sip of coffee from across the salt. A local specialty that's on the rarer side about the popotos being sold at the distillery. It's one of the few vegetables that can be cultivated at these altitudes. Oh, you already have popotos apparently in Eorzea. Ha, well, I'll be, if they're popular across the salt as well. I couldn't be prouder. Hmm. If it's for a merchant, they might be interested in our traditional dolls. They're believed to be good luck for business. I carry one around myself as it so happens. Whether or not someone unaware of its origins and significance will truly appreciate it is another question entirely. These dolls are of great importance and value both to we Pelopelu. Perhaps the merchants will be interested in purchasing one for himself. Full bike and outfit. Only Lalafels may enter this area. What is this shit? This is racism. What the fuck? I never had that in this game in my life. Only Lalafels. What's in here, man? If you're looking for something out of the ordinary, I'd have to recommend an Ulan Bristol hairbrush. They're good to keep the alpacas free of fleas, and they help prevent skin conditions, amongst other things. And while you expect them to turn and spit to anyone tugging on their hair, the alpacas seem to enjoy the grooming. It's a simple way to help keep them healthy and happy. People can use the brushes too, obviously. The Ulan bristles help distribute natural scalp oils and strip the hair to leftover dead strands to promote a healthy scalp. It's surprisingly gentle on the skin too, so it's little wonder they've grown so popular. Potatoes and coffee plants do not seem like bait enticing enough to draw out Gigamo's interest. The doll and hairbrush, on the other hand, may just be tantalizing enough. Report back to Noplian the information of your findings. I'd have to recommend an Ulan Bristol brush. In recent days, the brushes have gained some popularity among folk who are fussy about their hair. Uh,
You are returned. I take it you found an item or two of interest. I see. An Ulan bristle hairbrush and one of our traditional dolls. I must admit, whether such a doll would truly be desirable to an outsider is a bit dubious. I think it'd be safest to go with the hairbrush. My thanks for finding a suitable bait. Normally they go for 1 pel in the 10,000 column, but to teach our pernicious peddler a lesson, I'll offer him one for 1 pel to in the 100,000 column. Lest you worry, I won't actually sell it to him. I'm just giving him a taste of his own medicine so he can come to understand why a fair and honest deal is so important to we Palu Palu. More importantly, I wish to convey something to him, merchant to merchant. So what say you? Will you lend me your aid? Thank you. Let's give Gigalumu an offer he can't refuse. All that remains is for me to begin my negotiations with Gigalumu. However, even should I approach him, I expect he would be willing to bend an ear to anything I have to. Wouldn't be willing to bend an ear to anything I have to say. But if you, a fellow Eorzean, were to whisper in his ear of a merchant dealing in exotic wares he won't find elsewhere, I dare say his interest will be piqued. I expect he's still soaking in the springs, so try searching for him first at Pan Capelu retreat. I will join you after procuring a suitable store of hairbrushes. I really like this song. It is even safe for. Is it even safe for him to be in the water this long? It's just been chilling the entire time. Ah, it's you again. I take it you're unable to risk the allure of these waters. I see, and you wish to introduce me to this merchant of exotic wares. How thoughtful of you. I'm honestly surprised you remembered that I've yet to find suitable goods to take back to Eorzea. Very well, I shall meet this merchant, but I can hardly sit at the negotiating table in little more than a bathing towel. I pray wait for me below while I make myself presentable. It would not do for me to show any openings before the other party, if you take my meaning. Pray wait for me below.
In the rest area, seems there have been some developments. Okay, so I'm gonna take a quick break before I do this. I'll be right back.
And I'm back. Okay, let's do this. Thank you for waiting. Now, where is the merchant you wish to introduce me to?
No plea. I see. You two were friends in cahoots. You come to return the corrupted crystals. I'm afraid I do not accept refunds.
Didn't Yo tell you? I'm here to make you an offer. Make me an offer. Nah, I wasn't born yesterday. Whatever it is you're planning, I want nothing to do with it. You did deceive him. I did no such thing. I told him the crystals are rare in Tyrol, which they are. As a fellow merchant, he bears full responsibility for making an uninformed purchase. The Pelipus strive to bring others happiness through trade. Excuse me. Hogwash, you really expect me to believe I could benefit from another deal with him? This is not only for your benefit, but that of our new customers. You're certain to meet in future commercial endeavors. Upon my mask, I swear it. You can swear upon whatever you like, I still won't believe you. The only thing I trust less than your word is your meager eye for quality. Any product selected by your hand is one unworthy of my stalls. I picked it out myself. You selected it? Well, now that changes things, considering your wealth of experience in both Eorzea and Tyrell. Yours are eyes I can trust. I see what we have your attention, and without further ado, allow me to present to you my premium selection of high alpaca hairbrushes. The bristles are firm yet supple, gentle on the skin, and exceedingly pleasant to the touch. Even the most sensitive alpacas can't get enough of it. Indeed, I dare say these brushes are of unparalleled quality. We already have brushes for livestock in Eorzea. Furthermore, the market for such a commodity would be limited to farmers, all but squandering any chance of profit. I will not purchase a product merely because it is of good quality.
But if you could use it on your own hair? I must admit, as a merchant, it is important to always make oneself as personal as possible. Yet I am confused as to why you would ask. Ah, so people can use the brush as well.
This may I try for myself?
If it is a market quality product for men and women of good taste, then the potential market would expand considerably. Oh my, this is quite lovely. The way the bristles gently caress my scalp, each stroke gliding through my hair like a gentle breeze. and somehow every strand falls perfectly into place. My hair has never felt so soft and smooth. Yes, consider me interested. I dare say the brushes will sell themselves to those with the like-minded taste for elegance. Now, let us discuss payment. By my estimation, a single brush would be worth roughly 10,000 pel, give or take. Speaking of worth, I forgot to mention one terribly important detail. The brushes are made with the hair of a creature indigenous to Tyrol, the Ulan. Specimens are painstakingly chosen for each brush by a master craftsman, paying close attention to the beast's age as well as the texture, thickness, and strength of their hair. I'd say a single brush is worth no less than 2 pel in the hundred thousands column. I beg your pardon, 200,000 pel for a brush? You must be out of your mind. I shall take my business elsewhere. What? Wait, after purchasing the corrupted crystals from you, I'm in urgent need of funds. If you agree not to disclose to anyone else, I'm willing to sell the brushes to you for half the price. You go so far as to offer them at half market price, and it certainly comes as no surprise that you lack the capital. I may not find a more opportune bargain. Very well. You have yourself a deal. I shall use the pill I have on hand to purchase any brushes you can offer. To think the man I swindled would offer me such a bargain. The Pelopello may make for better customers than they do merchants. Now then, let us return to my storehouse and watch no Pelu to finalize our transaction. I trust that is fine with you, good Molo? Indeed, I shall make a short detour to Ichabod's Inn to gather my things before joining you. Pray excuse me. Whew. The negotiations went rather well, if I do say so myself. I cannot thank you enough for your assistance. But now the negotiations can truly begin. We should hurry back to Warchabalulu as well. All that remains is the final exchange. Dear Nopli truly is a generous soul. There you are, yo. Now that we are all assembled, let us continue our discussion. What is there to discuss? The deal is already agreed upon. All that remains is the exchange of goods. Are you sure? Even if I told you that the actual value of a brush is a single pel in the 10,000s column. What? You deceived me. Oh, no, nothing of the sort. I merely followed your example. I do personally believe that a single brush is worth 2,000 pel in 100,000s column. I also urgently need funds after purchasing those crystals, but more importantly, the brushes are
of unparalleled quality. To think I would be outfoxed by the man I took for a fool. Yet why tell me its true value now? Had you remained silent, you could have made back all the money you lost. I find that a strange question. Are we both not merchants? Rather than prey on one another, hoping to make our fortunes in a single exchange, would it not be mutually beneficial for us to, in the long term, to become trade partners? As far as I'm concerned, this is a chance I can't afford to let slip away. Foreign merchants willing to sell all the way to Tyrol are few and far between, and I certainly won't have the wherewithal to travel to Eorzea myself any time soon. After all I've done, be you would ask to be my trade partner. I ply my trade in a city called Ul'dah, where the unspoken rule of business is to be deceived or be deceived, to seize what opportunities you can by quickly move on. Long-term profits have never been the furthest thing from my mind. When I first saw you, Nopely, I could sense your naivety. Thus did I approach you with a mind to exploit it, and pawn my worthless corrupted crystals into your eager hands. At the time, I thought it simply a business as usual, and yet I am wholly embarrassed by the thought of it now, that you would use the same ploy against me, even and for even greater profit makes it all the more shameful. Nobly, I'm truly sorry for deceiving you. I shall return all the money I took from you and make what amends I can for the trouble I've caused. I do not deserve your forgiveness, let alone your partnership, but if you're certain that is the best course, I am. But forget about the money. I'd like you to bring back more of those corrupted crystals. If I can find some use for them, we'll have a product that can be easily sold for a premium, and we can corner the market here in Tyrol. I am happy to oblige, but until such time that the crystals become profitable here, I could not proceed in good conscience without a product that we both benefit from. If it pleases you, I'd like to explore our options. I couldn't have convinced Gigalamo without your help, Yo. Together, I believe he and I can bring others happiness through trade in not only Tyrol but Eorzea and beyond. I've prepared a small gift for you to show my thanks, though is hardly enough. I hope this is of some benefit to you during your travels, and if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to find me. Nice.
Alright, let me continue this quest. Now that everyone is here, it is time to begin. Together we shall make these feathers so striking that even Exali would be envious. The first item we require are dyes and oils. The former is used to match the feathers with various uniforms by the troops. The latter serves a different purpose. As you can see by observing yours truly, Hanu Hanu boasts feathers full and colorful. This is thanks to the oils our body secretes, which keep our coat from becoming drab and brittle. But the feathers we gift to the lance guards were molted long ago, and have since lost their natural luster, so we must apply oil to make them as vibrant as those of Anu in their prime. The task of gathering said oils dyes falls to Yo. Go to Oakbeck B, where a crate has already been prepared. In the meantime, Nahanashi here will get the feathers. We trade for oils and dyes with Pelu merchants who pass through Oakbeck B, so they are generally stored there for the sake of convenience. Interesting. Of course, we maintain our equipment regularly, and oiling the feathers is part of that, but I never considered how the Anu might keep theirs pristine. Big old tree. You're here about the supplies? Good, good. Everything's in that crate over there. It's heavy, so be careful not to drop it on those dainty toes of yours. Worse still, you might break a bottle of dye. The Landsguard artist who designed their uniforms was very particular about their coloring, so do not a single one can go to waste. There's nothing a soldier loves more than their equipment, so every detail has to be just right. Tread as carefully as you can back to Lanu Anu. Can't sprint. Are these really feathers? There's so many. How many are there in here? There. Hundreds? Thousands? More? You both did excellent work today. Nanashi, it appears you might need some rest after your ordeal. Hmm? How many feathers did you pack into that crate? Are you sure you didn't send me to get the dyes and oils? Be glad I didn't, Nanashi, for Yo's crate is much heavier. She also carried it from a much greater distance. Really now? And here I thought I was the stronger, damn bested during my first assignment. But that won't happen again. I've had enough rest, so let's get on with it. If you insist, Nanashi, let us proceed to the heart of the matter. First, we must dye each feather one by one, but be careful, for each color is needed in different quantities. Equipment used to attack is adorned with black feathers, while equipment used for defense is adorned with feathers in their original green. For those, we must carefully hold on just a damn moment. We're dyeing all of these one by one. I'll be an old man by then. There has to be a better way. Say, throw a dozen of them in a big bowl of dye. Ah, but that will make the coloring uneven, Nanashi. As I was saying, we must carefully apply oil to the feathers to bring out their original color, or they'll quickly become brittle. I, I see. This will be a test of patience, but with the three of us, it shall be over before the moon turns. Probably. Worry not, for I'm here to reach you now how best to see the job done. I suppose I'm thankful for that. Truth be told, I never knew so much hard work went into our uniforms. For our brothers and sisters in the Lance Guard, no effort is too great. The Hanu are honored that you wear our feathers. You are surprised, as the wind's chosen, seeing my feathers become a symbol of great Kixel fills me with a joy unquelled in this world. And to have them adorn the land-scarred armor makes my joy all the more sweeter. Few in Terrell can claim such an honor, so there can be no mistakes. There's really more to this than I thought. I would like to apologize for how I've been acting. I see now that things are done a certain way for a reason. So, while I may grow old and gray in the doing, I'll see that every feather is styled and oiled properly. At least we're in this together, eh, yo? Your work was swift and capable, yo. The hardest part is behind us now. I'll reckon I'll be cleaning dye from under my nails for some days yet, but I won't complain about honest work. Now I have to think about how to get these back to Toliolol. Don't get ahead of yourself, young Nanashi. Yes, the hard part is behind us, but there's more I would ask of you. As I've said before, Kixali is revered by the Hanu, and we must pay due respect for use of its likeness. As such, there are time-honored rituals that must be followed before we give this offering to the Landsguard. Time-honored, eh? As long as it isn't time-consuming. Our next step is simple. We must bring the feathers before the likeness of Ixal and Kazukihi, and have the priestess beseech the great bird to bestow the wind blessing upon them. More lugging that crate around then. I can do it, but if we're going any further than last time, I might need a couple breaks. Do not worry, Nanashi. I will carry the feathers. I have something different in mind for you, the both of you. A friend of mine awaits you on the road to Kazanakui. Speak with him and do exactly as he instructs. I don't think Nanashi was complaining, do you? Either way, his attitude is much improved, but his lessons aren't over yet. My friend awaits to further his education. If he's carrying the crate, what are we meant to be doing? I hope something even heavier isn't in our future.
Welcome, welcome. I understand you seek the blessing of the wind. The priestess requires a special type of bark to complete the ceremony, and your job is to gather it. But you must tread carefully, for the shores where the trees are found teem with hungry beasts. I suggest clearing the area first no one so one doesn't sneak up on you. I don't mind a bit of hunting, but these arms aren't meant for apologies. I suppose complaining is a habit I should aim to break. This is all part of the process of making our equipment, isn't it? There's a reason we need this spark, so get the bark we shall. I'll search the south side, yo. You take the north. Without the right bark, Kiksali will now not bestow the wind's blessing. But hungry beasts roam the shores, so I suggest clearing the area before you get. That's it. Well, it is a side quest, so. Why do I get the feeling a story is coming? Well done, you two. You got exactly what I asked, but I suppose you're still curious as to why the bark had to be from those specific trees. The answer lies within the legend of the Kiksali. You see, our ancestor hailed from a different land and were guided here by the great bird. But upon their arrival, they found perilous woodlands overrun by hungry fiends. Many Hanu were lost to the gluttonous appetite of the wilds, and they had nearly succumbed to despair. But then Keksali let out a mighty screech. It echoed through the land, setting the streets aglow. Taking this as divine guidance, our beleaguered ancestor took bark from the trunks and burnt it. The smoke wafted through the air, and beasts found it so repugnant they were forced to flee one and all. Since that day, warriors would burn incense before battle in hopes it would ward them from harm. Thus we bless the landscape's feathers in the same way. They too might bask in exile's protection. Now, take the barks to Kazakui, and on the way I would be glad if you offered your sincerest prayers to the great bird. I'm sure you're well acquainted with the paths by now, but just in case, Kazakoi can be reached by traveling northeast. Go there and offer your prayers to Cakes Valley. Yeah. We're finally here. Mind giving me your bark? I'll deliver it there to the honored priestess. Thank you, yo. Once I'm finished, let's offer our prayers. Wouldn't want to disappoint our host after all. Yeah. The Hanu take their traditions seriously, don't they? I knew they wished for a good harvest and such, but never imagined we Landsguard were in their thoughts all the same. This has been an eye-opening experience to be sure, but I can't help but wonder why we're so important to them. Why allow us to use their revered god in the designs of our equipment? Aren't you a Landsguard yourself and you ask such questions? Yo, aren't you? I'm Zuliati. I know we have you to thank for Inahana's success, but even so, I must ask that you stand aside. You are Nahashi, of whom we've heard much. I'm surprised you have the gall to step foot in such a sacred place. While the elders may sing praises of the Landsguard, their minds have been warped by too many moltings. The new generation is sick of their careless chirping.
You have to say your lines. Remember how we practiced? Oh yes, I understand. We heard you complain when you took the feathers. We saw the disdain in your eyes. Someone with such disrespect for our history doesn't deserve to bask in Kixel's grace. What? But it's not so bad anymore. That may be so, yo, but he's had enough chances. We refuse to suffer this landscar to be in Okanu. Listen well and remember, the sacred likeness of Exali was once reduced to shredded reeds. By whom you ask? By none other than the Ghoul Jaja, Dawn servant and founder of the Lance Guard. No, the Dawn servant would never. This misdeed will never be forgiven. If you have any pride in your position, you should be ashamed at your ignorance and lack of respect. How will you answer for that? Yes, you must answer, and you answer well, or we will be very angry with you. I had no idea about this history of conflict. Why didn't Lunahana say anything? Why am I taking the blame for the past? In any case, we can't stay here. I have to think about this. I don't see why Zulali would lie, but have I never heard of the Dawn Servant affront to the Hanu Dawn Servant's affront to the Hanu Hanu? And why would Lahanu act so proud to have his feathers adorned during our equipment? I'm no good with numbers, but even I can tell something doesn't add up here. We'll have to find the truth ourselves. You might be right. It was my ignorance that seemed to set her off after all. Whatever happens, I'd like to leave her on the heinous good side. Well, our best bet is probably to return to Okanu. If anyone can tell us the truth about what happened with the Dawn Servant, it would be Lanu Hanu. I don't see him, but the crate's not here either. He might have left to Kazaki already. When we have seen him on the road if we had, though. The forest is vast, I suppose. Anyways, maybe one of the younger Hanu Hanu around here can tell us if Zola's scorn is shared. Let's ask around, yo. Of course, every Hanu knows the story of the Dawn Servant's visit, but it might be more accurate to call it a rescue. For at the time our home was beset by beasts and fiends, when Gula Jaja heard this terrible news, he personally came to drive out every last one. If the Dawn Servant hadn't come, Okanu would now be nothing more but a den of wild beasts. Zulali said all that. Well, I do remember hearing that with when our ancestors beheld the ruined figure, some of them viewed it as a terrible insult, even though they were saved. Could that grudge have been inherited by their children and grandchildren? I can't speak on such matters, but perhaps Lunahana can. He is wise to our ways and makes an effort to befriend everyone he can. 1 second. No small talk for him. Hey, the likeness of Kixai. My father actually worked to repair it. He told me that the Dawn Servant's slaughter of the beast was swift and brutal, but left many of our shrines and homes damaged in its wake. But what choice did he have? The fiends were not at our doors. My father and his friends agreed that it was better to be alive. At least that way they could rebuild.
Gulajaja showed no restraint, but it was the only way to save us. My father and his friends all agree on that. What's the word, yo? From what I heard, the Dawn Servant really did destroy the sacred figure.
I see. I can't say I'm surprised that some Hanu Hanu would bear a grudge. So Zolia was telling the truth. Something still doesn't sit right with me, though. The Dawn Seven wouldn't simply go on a rampage and leave the Hanu to clean things up. He'd have more compassion than that. Nanashi, yo, you wouldn't believe what happened. I was surrounded by Zilly, Holly, and their cronies while on my way to the shrine. They stole the crate of feathers from out of my claws, saying no Landsguard could have it until Nanashi gave his answer. I assume you know what they're talking about. They said if you ignore their demand, they'll burn every last feather. What? Have they gone mad? God be good. I'm sorry, but can you stall them for a while? There's something I must look into first. I know what you're thinking, yo. Isn't this going a little too far? I would answer that the results shall speak for themselves. Now we simply wait and see what Nanashi brings us. Cat, what do you want? Hold on, I'll be right back. So Uli and the others are waiting to the south of the shrine. Let us go here and stall them as Nahashi requested. We'll all be eager to see what answer Nahashi brings us. Nanashi should be here soon. We were lucky to have you spur him into action, yo. And while our methods may appear rather blunt to you, wait until Nanashi speaks before you judge us. Wait quietly and hear his answer. I don't know what made us wait so long, Nanashi, but I hope whatever you found was worth it. I spoke with the eldest Hanu of the village. He told me the whole story of the Dawn Servant's visit and the destruction of Exali's likeness, the whole story. It seems he, particularly the head of reason, was filled with anguish at the sight and offered his deepest apologies. To make amends, he devised a way to assemble an even more robust figure from the remains of the previous one. His work was done overnight, and the head of Resolve called upon the whole village to celebrate their newfound peace. For the first time in a long while, Lin Lehana commenced, and the Dawn Servant was chosen to ride the sacred float. After the festivities, the Dawn Servant said that when he was finally established, when he finally established a unified nation in Tyrol, he wanted a motive representing exile to be among those used in the soldiers' uniforms. He declared that the different tribes can forge friendships so long as they open their hearts to one another, that his nation would be one where peoples of all stripes could live in harmony. His soldiers would become a symbol of that promise. So you can learn for yourself after all, but you should have come here with that knowledge already seared into your memory. I know, I have no excuse for my ignorance and the petulance born from it. This experience has taught me so many things. And now, with full knowledge of this history, I'm filled with a much greater sense of purpose than before. I feel more keenly than ever that my duty as a lance guard is to serve every corner of Tyrol. But to fulfill that duty, we must have our equipment, so please, I beg of you, entrust the feathers to me in good faith. You'll be a fine soldier, don't you agree, Lanu Hanu? What? Yes, indeed, that was quite the moving display. My feathers were standing up straight. Thank you for looking after Nanashi during his growth, yo. My growth? What are you talking about? Why, this was all a performance to guide you along the path to become a worthy lance guard. Your rite of passage is complete. So, my superiors weren't pulling one over on me? They were worried about me. I didn't realize my conduct was so concerning. Tell them what you told us, and their concerns will vanish. You'll be welcomed back with open arms. But before you do that, aren't there more places to visit, more materials to collect? We Han aren't the only people who love teaching lessons. Please, I don't want to think about that now. I was worried sick enough imagining what would happen if I couldn't get the feathers. Ah, well, earned a bit of rest. Return to Okanu and we'll deliver the feathers to you after the priestess has blessed them. That part, at least, was no ruse. I, if you don't mind, I'd like to go to Kazuyaki. I feel I should offer one more prayer to Ixaly. Very well. Yo, don't wait. Why don't you wait at Okanu? I'll bring the feathers and I'd like to speak with you once more before you go. I wonder how long I would have lasted if you weren't here. Now that our rite of passage is behind us, allow me to offer my thanks for all your help. I would also offer my apologies for making you party to our little deception. I would have told you everything, but I don't think the ending would have been quite so effective if I did. I agree, and I'm grateful things went the way they did. The lessons I learned here will guide me as I become acquainted with all of Terrell's peoples. Speaking of which, the next leg of my journey awaits. May we meet again. Nice. Alright, I'm gonna take a quick break. I'll be right back.
Alright, I'm actually gonna call it here. I have something I have to do in a little bit. Um, Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace.